Hi, it's me again, bringing you another 40k rep for the channel.
Hello!
This time it's a channel first, a Tempest of War report. I'm also debuting a few new models, the most exciting of which is my frickin' Wraith Knight. He's geared up with a heavy D cannon, star cannons, and a big fuck-off sword. He's also completely magnetized to be able to take any loadout.
There's room for flexibility.
For Tempest of War, I don't think I can necessarily do the rep in 10 minutes, due to all the extra detail needed about our cards each turn. I'll still keep the reports short, though. Anyway, onto the rosters. Great, I'm debuting Fire Dragons and a Wraith Cannon Knight, and I'm facing almost 100% infantry.
Yeah.
Anyway, here are the mission rules. We're playing take and hold on a spearhead deployment map, and the CPs for tactical reserves are halved. Here's deployment. My Warp Spiders go in deep strike, along with a Sherman and the Fire Dragons in a Falcon. But everything else starts on the board. Should I have reserved the Wraith Knight? Tough one. He won't be able to bring all his meltas to bear right away, and I want to be pushing forward and threatening charges turn 2 if he comes forward. My Farseer is behind the central terrain, with the Warlock and Hawks. My Rangers are forward deployed, here and here. It was kinda difficult to get a good shot of Sisters' deployment from my side, so I decided to take a rare shot from the enemy side of the board. They have one unit of Melta Retributors in reserve, along with the Repentia, and their Jumpy Girls are in deep strike. Sisters get the first turn, so let's get into the battle.
Let's go.
Sisters cards are Battlefield Supremacy, Assassination, and Secure No Man's Land. By the way, I don't have a record of whether we paid a CP to change a card. Shit's too inconsequential, so he takes the left and central objectives with regular sister squads. Varl and the Warsuits come out of hiding, and the Repentia start running forwards. On the right, the Melta squad and some characters stay hidden, while the Crusaders bravely tow onto the objective. In shooting, the Warsuits and Varl target the Wraith Knight. I didn't roll any saves trans, so I was pretty worried, but the big ol' bastard only takes 7 wounds.
I can work with that.
So Sisters easily scored 2 of their objectives, for 10 points. So my turn 1 objectives are behind enemy lines. Deploy Teleport Homer. And no prisoners. I can actually probably pull off the first 2. But it would involve suiciding expensive units early on.
Not a great plan.
Here's movement. I use a stratagem to heal a few wounds on the knight, which then moves up aggressively, along with the avatar. I'd love to fling the Farseer forward and then pull him back with a quicken, but Sisters have one of those frickin' lame 4+ deny strats, so I don't think I can really take the chance. Out of shot on the far right, one unit of Rangers runs onto the rightmost objective. A closer look at the center of the table. There's no psychic. So in shooting, the Fire Prism kills one Warsuit, and the Wraith Knight easily kills the other 2 with his heavy Wraith Cannon.
When he started to do that, then he started to turn heads, including mine.
The swooping Hawks also kill most of the Repentia, and jump back to bubble wrap the Farseer. So, charge time.
Does anyone have a charger?
The 2 big boys charge the nearby squads of Sisters, and wipe them both out, just about. The remaining Repentia then run away, so here's what it looks like at the end of my turn.
This is where we hold them!
Looks pretty good, although don't forget I've only removed 3 of his 11 multi-meltas so far. I actually managed to score no prisoners in turn 1, so that's nice. I keep behind enemy lines, and discard Teleport Homer. Sisters cards for turn 2 are Assassination, Defend Stronghold, and No Retreat. Some good draws there, although they only score 5 for primaries. Apologies for the confusing movement shot, it's from the Sisters side again for some reason. So Varl moves to threaten the Wraith Knight. Some more Repentia come out from reserve, I think? And he deep strikes Celestine and the other jumpy girls down, to threaten my Farseer and home objective.
Move the nasty little gremlin! Aye, it's raining columns!
He keeps his one Melta squad hidden out of the way still, and the other squad is still in reserve. I believe he's able to make the Seraphim shoot at the swooping hawks in the movement phase, killing all but one. I didn't have any way to stop this, so next time I'll think more carefully about keeping the Rangers back if I need them to screen out my hawk base. In shooting, Varl puts 2 wounds onto the Avatar, and the Seraphim kill my now unprotected Farseer.
Just then?
So, Varl then attempts a charge on the Wraith Knight. I have a hit strand in the bag, so I use it in Overwatch to get a hit on her with the Wraith Cannon, which goes through, and leaves her with just 2 wounds left.
You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
She makes the charge, and does a hell of a number on her titanic foe. But the knight survives with 6 wounds left, and promptly slices her in 2 with its gnarly sword. The bad news, however, is that Celestine makes her frickin' charge onto my home objective, and easily slaughters the last hawk in my warlock. Case so a big turn for sisters here as they score all 3 of their cards. This puts them up to 30 points total. My turn 2 cards are a tempting target, for which my opponent chooses the far left objective, secure no man's land, and I still have behind enemy lines. So I get the big 15 for primaries this turn. You still can't see them, but I have Rangers on the far right holding the rightmost objective. I move the Viper up for redundancy on the central objective. The Falcon deep strikes down here, and Asurman disembarks, while the Fire Dragons stay inside.
For heaven's sake, why?
Yeah, they should probably have disembarked and tried to put Celestine down one time at least. Oh well, a closer shot of Asurman. The warp spiders come down up here to try and start thinning out the one Melta squad that's still on the table. Well, there's no psychic anymore, so straight on to shooting. The spiders dump a metric shit ton of shots into the Melta squad, but he has a few in cover and rolls well for his saves. Plus my guns are only at frickin' AP-1 because of Armor of Contempt. Basically I think I just kill 2 or 3, but not enough to take any Meltas off the table.
My instinct is fuck this.
With shooting from the rest of my units, including the Falcon and Fire Prism, I whittle down the Seraphim and Zephyrim, although don't manage to wipe out either unit. I then charge Asurman into Celestine, with the help of a charged Strand's dice. He slays both of her Gemini bodyguards and puts a wound onto her, but takes 3 in return. I think one of the wounds must have been from Overwatch. The Avatar charges and wipes out the final regular Sisters squad. The Wraith Knight would obviously like to have charged and wiped out the remaining Zephyrim, but he had to stay on the objective in order to score a tempting target. Oh, I forgot to mention, I healed the Wraith Knight again. I also rolled 0 save strands again this battle round. Fuck's sake. So I score 2 of my secondaries this turn, which puts me up to 30, neck and neck with Sisters. I hold on to behind enemy lines again. I know I can score it, just not quite yet. Sisters' fresh turn 3 cards are extend battle lines, behind enemy lines, and overwhelming firepower. Here's movement. Just 5 for primaries again. He sends the surviving jumpies over to help Celestine. His second Melta squad comes out of reserves, in position to fire at the Wraith Knight. The second Repentia unit barrels through the building and squares up to the Avatar, while the other Melta squad positions to get a few shots off on him.
Go on, do your duty.
In shooting, one of the units down here has some mortal wound strat thing, and uses it to finish off a Sherman. I try to resurrect him for a CP, but it doesn't work. Sisters finally have some good rolls for Melta over here, and take out the Wraith Knight with ease.
That still only counts as 1!
The Avatar shrugs off the Meltas aimed at him, but then the Repentia charge and bring him down to 3 wounds. He splits his attacks, successfully killing one of the characters that gives the Repentia +1 to wound or something, but this means 4 angry girls survive, annoyingly. Sisters score 2 secondaries, putting them up to
45.
The shoe's on the other foot now, and it's me who only scores 5 for primaries in my turn 3. My new cards are No Retreat, and Blood and Guts. At the bottom, the Fire Dragons disembark and move on to my home objective, with the Falcon following up behind them. Here's a closer shot. My Viper zooms onto his home objective, so that I can finally score behind enemy lines in conjunction with the spiders, and the spiders start coming towards his little blob. So in shooting, the spiders target the nearby multi-Melta squad, and this is their roll for number of shots.
Jesus.
Yep, a total of 13 on 7d6. It works out okay in the end though, as he doesn't roll great for his armor saves, and I kill most of the squad. In fact, I think there's only one sister left from that multi-melta squad now. Down here, not so great. I think I split fire and try to kill Celestine, but she makes her saves. I managed to kill a couple of the jumpy girls, though, stealing the objective back. The Avatar fires his Melta sword in combat and kills the other character that was in combat with him. However, the Repentia then strike him down in combat.
Okay, fine, I'm cool, I'm fine.
The Warp Spiders try some sneaky shenanigans to steal the sisters' home objective, charging the Crusaders and then piling round and consolidating onto the objective. I think they maybe kill a Crusader, and lose a guy or two in return, but it was worth it. So this turn I just score behind enemy lines, at last, for another 5 points, putting me up to 40 points. We had to start the game much later than usual, so we're running out of time at this point, and agreed to just play out battle round 4. Sisters cards are Bring It Down, Teleport Homer, and Raise Banner. For Bring It Down, I choose the Fire Prism, as it's furthest away from Celestine. Here's the top part of the battlefield after movement. At the bottom, Celestine and her remaining pals square up to the mighty fire dragons. The unharmed multi-melta squad on the left of the board can't get in range of anything, so shooting just consists of a couple of the dragons being slain by the living saint. She then charges the fire dragons and falcon, but completely whiffs in combat and doesn't manage to kill even a single dragon. Up here, the Repentia charge the Viper, and the Canoness, who's been skulking around these ruins all game, charges the Warp Spiders. The Repentia easily muller the Viper, but I don't think the Spiders do too badly. So this turn, Sisters scored 10 for primaries, which I forgot to mention, and then they easily scored Teleport Homer and Raise Banner, for another 20 points, bringing them up to 65. I think the lone surviving jumpy girl on my home objective scored Teleport Homer, and probably the multi-melta squad raised the banner or some shiz. Sisters have now maxed out their secondary points, at 45, but have only scored 20 for primaries. In my turn 4, I score 10 for primaries. I still have the far right objective with my rangers, just out of shot and obscured by the building. Because Celestine didn't kill any of the fire dragons last turn, they all piled onto the objective and stole it back. This puts my primary total up to 40. I don't have a picture of what my final card draw was, but I do know that I drew 2 cards that were pretty iffy to impossible to score, and I still kept no retreat from last turn. The only guaranteed card I could score was no retreat, by simply doing nothing. Therefore, rather than take a risk on not scoring anything, I opted to just score no retreat for another 5 primary points. This put my overall points up to 65, the same as Sisters.
The draw. I never found you funny, I never found you entertaining, I never found you smart, I just found you annoying.
Here you can see the breakdown more clearly. Sisters dominated on secondaries, but I managed to do equally well with the primaries, meaning we cancelled each other out. Just out of interest, we in fact drew our turn 5 cards, and had a good go at working out what the most likely outcome would be at the end of turn 5, and it still ended up a draw. So, I've played a few games of Tempest now, and enjoyed them all. I was worried they'd be annoying to record, and they are a bit, but it's not too bad. There are definitely some things I think could be improved, but overall I like it as an alternative to regular Nagmund. Having the extra starting CP is certainly a big draw, too. The Wraith Knights certainly did unexpectedly well. I do think they're rather shockingly overcosted for their relatively low amount of shots etc., but I still enjoyed using it. My other new units didn't really get chance to do much, unfortunately. Next up is another Tempest report, Orcs vs Tyranids. It'll hopefully be a bit less of a gap than the gap between the last report and this one. So that brings us to the end of another report. Thanks to my opponent, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe, and all that shiz. Goodbye.